Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Shannon and I'm with Pickin Vintage. We're going to have a little bit of fun today with the paint inlays, specifically the rose chintz. This is a great pattern. It's fun. It actually embeds itself into your wet paint and it dries as part of your paint. When you get your paint inlays, they come in a nice booklet like this. And on the back, you can see how they're all laid out. This is so you can do a continuous pattern. So when you're applying it to something big, say a piece of furniture, you can make sure they line up. So you want to make sure you do this before you get started. So I'm going to show you how to do that, but they do all line up beautifully. And also on the back, they show you a few beautiful examples. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lay it out because I want to be able to show you how you lay them out. And then we're going to actually apply them. So here is our first one, the top one. And I'm just going to simply put it right here. Now again, I'm just simply doing my layout. I want to make sure I have them all lined up properly so when I go to apply them, they are in the correct order. Up so the flowers actually match. And another one, and what's nice is when you're opening the package, they are already in order, so don't mess them up. And then we have the end. That one. Now, I already have these four on here, and it doesn't quite go to the end of my vanity, so I need to use the next layers and create. The problem is that I can't just simply line this up, cut, and then use this piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep going with my inlays, with my packet, so I get the correct pattern. Just double checking they line up, and then I'm putting them on top. And then just double checking. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to grab a pen, pencil, whatever you use to write, and I'm going to put them in order. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back to 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know when I'm applying them, I know what order they need to go in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So in case I get distracted, I get called away from my project, and I put them, I think I have them in order, but I don't. Now I know if they get disheveled or somebody knocks them over, they will be in order. Okay, so now I'm just going to stack them up in order. Let me just show you a few things about these. So number one, you can see the brilliant colors. Look how vibrant and bright these are. These are actually paint. These are created with paint. So it is paint in designs on a piece of paper. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a different color paint on a surface, stick these on, and the paint is going to actually dry and embed itself into the paint, and it will become one with the paint. Like I said, these are amazing. So, but you'll also notice though with these, besides the vibrant colors, you'll notice on each side, the top, over here, there's a little bit of extra paper. So if you're going to line these up, you need to pre-cut your paper. Otherwise, and I made this mistake when I first tried it, whoops, but you learn from your mistakes. You can always just fold them back, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut these. I'm going to line all the papers up, and I'm going to cut them all at the same time because basically it's pretty well even on all the lines, and even if it's not exactly, it's really close. Again, I'm just simply cutting off the excess because the design does not go all the way to the end of the paper. But you want to go ahead and do this before you actually put them on. It'll save you a lot of headaches. All right. All right, so now you can see my papers. Now the paint design goes all the way to the edge of the paper. So I can apply these and not have to worry. Right now, I'm simply going to put them on the top. So in order to get these to stick, I need to use chalk paint or chalk mineral paint. So I don't want to get the paint on the edges. So I'm just going to quickly tape that up real quick. This way I don't have to worry about being sloppy with the paint. I can just go to town and then put my, oh boy. And now putting the tape down will stop the other part of the excess of the rose chintz hanging over from sticking to the edge because I don't want it on the lip. I'm not going to worry about the sides because I have control over where I'm putting the paper, so I don't have to worry if I do get a little bit extra paint on the side. Okay, so I'm going with my hot pink. Now I already have a layer on. I need to go ahead and add more. And right here, I'm going to put some paint on. I'm going to work in sections because I want to make sure the paint doesn't dry. I need the paint to be wet in order for the paint inlays to set into the paint on this vanity. Okay, so I have this one on, so I want to go back to my papers and I want to get number 1. So here's number 1. I'm going to simply line it up and firmly push it into the paint. Oops, I did not tear it, I just got a little bit of paint on there. All right. Now, since I have this part activated, I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom part on. So if we remember, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this was 5. So I'm going to find 5 and go ahead and stick it on here now. So here we have number 5, and I'm just going to follow the pattern, match it up. You can see, let me see if you can see it in the camera, it matches, it follows the pattern, which is very important if you want it to look, not professional, but just look polished, I don't know, look nice. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest, and then I'm going to bray it just to smooth out the wrinkles, and then we're going to set it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the paint on the rest of this. Making sure I apply enough. Now, you don't want too much paint. You just want a normal layer of paint. So now I need number 2, then 3, then 4. Okay, here is number 2. And I'm simply going to line it up. I'm putting it a little bit over to the right, and I'm going to drag it over until I get it just where I want it. I'm going to give it a light rub. And you'll notice, and you see here, that's matching up perfectly. There is a little bit of a space here, but that's okay because there is no paint inlay right there. I want to do this one here. So that would be number 6. If you forget how you number it, you can always write it down on a separate sheet of paper on how you chose to lay it out. There you go. Again, I'm putting it a little bit past it, and I'm going to drag it over till I get it right where I want. Firmly press it in. And then my last ones. Now these little areas in the back, there's little squares that stick out past the bottom of the vanity. I'm going to go back and I'm just going to add different parts to that. I'm just not going to do that right yet. I want to finish this part. And then number 8, put this on here. There we go. So now we have it on the entire top of the vanity, which was the goal. And now I'm going to go back. I'm going to use my brayer. If you don't have the IOD brayer, I highly recommend. I use it for so much, including inking my stamps. I just love it for that. So I'm just going to kind of try to get some of these wrinkles out, kind of press it into the paint. You don't want to get rid of all the wrinkles per se, because what happens when you have the wrinkles in the paint, it kind of adds more of a texture, and it looks like vintage. I love it. I need to wet this to set this. So I have a damp sponge, and then I have my mister. What I want to do is I want to wet the inlay, and watch what happens when I wet it. It turns a color. See that? And all this is doing is, I'm not rubbing it, I'm going up and down. It's setting it into the paint. It's activating the paint inlay off of the paper and into the paint itself, the hot pink paint. I'm making sure I press everything. So you can see where I have activated the paint inlay as to where I have just simply put it on with paint. This is very, very, very important, this step here. I'm gonna give it one more, and I'm just pushing down. There we go. So now this part is set and ready to go, and I just need it to dry. Again, this is just a mister bottle. You can use a damp rag, a bucket of water, whatever. Get it wet and push the paint inlay into your painted surface. Now you can kind of already see what it's going to look like based on now that the paper is translucent. So this is going to be beautiful. Okay, again, I'm activating it, going over and pushing on all of the paint. I want to make sure I'm sticking it down into the painted surface. I'm just going to give it one more over, just for the whole thing, just because I want to make sure I put enough water on it. Sometimes with the mister, you just wonder if you're getting enough water. So I just want to make sure. But based on the color, definitely has enough. This now has to dry. It is very, very important. It has to dry, because what it's going to do is this is going to set the paint inlay into the paint on the vanity. And when we pull these off, it will only leave the inlay, which is really super cool. We are done with this part for today.